the bridge is still there but filled in, and the other side, the stone walls are there but not the roof.
Ah.
Supposedly, they were sent to remove this roof, because this was the dodgy one, and took the other one off that was good. And yet this one has survived. Okay, you're going to receive your 30-second pulses from your master clock system, which revolves that every 30 seconds. Also driving an hourly wheel, a 7-day-a-week wheel, so it shuts the bell up on the weekend if you want it. And then you've got a 24-hour wheel on the outside, which you can set the moving little pegs in, so you can set the time.
Oh yes, ticking around, yeah.
When you want to.
And the Mercury tilt switch, you mentioned times at 7 seconds.
Yeah. There, it's tilted, and now it's running, drains off. It lifts, so you'll do this every minute, every 5 minutes, sorry, it runs like that. So it's beginning to balance the mercury out. Then it makes contact, and then in the next one, it's making contact for as long as the mercury runs back, and then it starts again.
That's a work of art, that. Do you know where it was previously used?
No. Don't. I bought it off a fella at Long Preston who had a little collection of clocks. You can take the peg out and place it further around the wheel like that. I'll bounce it on. So when it makes that contact,
yeah,
and that, and it's allowing it on the 7-day wheel, it will ring the bell for as long as the it's getting to the point, getting to the point, getting to the point. And then when it drops, it rings the bell. Like that. Now it's ringing the bell until the mercury runs back, and then the whole process starts. As long as that peg lines up, that contact's closed, and that's running back. It was double track. Really,
so it must be single line working longer term or older.
Yeah.
So that's Kirkby Stephen East.
It's a fibre one though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a new one. Wish I could. I don't know much about it.
So this locking tray is 20 levers long.
I think it's 20 if I got the right number of fingers and toes.
Idea which frame it's off?
Stevens, as far as I'm aware. And it's part of a 45 lever frame that was somewhere in the northeast, potentially.
So basically just 2 locking trays and you're there.
Effectively, although there's a lot more because you've got various different bits to slot them into.
To it, yeah.
So if you have a look at the lying down snoozing bits,
Oh yes.
the trays sit in here.
Right, yeah. Right, it's not very thick, is it? As depth-wise.
It's surprising it manages to stand up so well.
Yeah. It's not reinforced on the back at all either, is it? And everything's riveted.
Everything's riveted.
Where's the back of it? Let's see.
Oh, go on.
That's the first time I've seen anything riveted like that. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So is this the frame you're planning to put in eventually?
This is the frame we're going to put in it.
And what frame is it?
It's a northeast and central division. It'll be Kensington.
Kensington Central Division. Well, there's the main frame mounts. Those are what the locking trays you showed us were that fit in.
Yeah, they fit in there. Further down in the power there's L shape.
Yeah.
Those are your locking trays. Should be some big cast T pieces. With it's an capital T.
Yeah.
And then the lever pivot bolt onto that.
Onto those as well.
Yeah.
How many levers all told?
25, I think.
25. So you'll have most of that in use for what you plan
Well,
to do.
part of it is actually as a demo as well. So we've kept the high numbered end, which is near the door,
Yeah.
as demo levers.
Yeah.
So when the box is, even if it's switched out,
They're not walking past.
Yeah, so these are northeastern shunt signals, which are going to be used in the scheme nearer the station. One of them in particular is coming out for the bay platform, and I think the other one is further up outside the box.
So this is the scheme plan for the proposed box.
Yeah. 14.
Ah, the ground signals, yes.
Yeah.
So we're currently here.
We're currently in this shed.
That's it there. So it's the main station,
Yeah.
and as you mentioned before, the platform's straddled either side of the building, so it's like a dual roof,
Yeah.
and then that's off towards the Darlington end.
Yeah.
So your signal box is going to control basically all the station area and coming out.
The blue area is directly controlled by this box, and on the other side then will be a one engine in steam working with access here
Yeah.
onto it, and they can run the passenger service on that side as backwards and forwards as much as they want. This side remains for shunting on demo trains, and
Yeah.
if necessary we'll be capable of running another passenger.
You could run a separate event like a Thomas or something, couldn't you?
Yeah, yeah. That bracket, that signal there is actually further along the shed wall
Yes.
than what it shows on here.
It's drawn like that just for clarity, so it isn't all on top of itself. So it elongates the layout slightly.
Yes.
But I did a sighting of that, and it's the post that they've already got and the bracket will
Yeah.
bring the arm out and across and makes it absolutely obvious it applies to this line. And the guard on the platform can see it above the stock. Be the loading spur ground frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we are.
Yeah, which is where we are. But there's also involved now here. We need 2 traps, which is a bit of a bone of contention at the moment.
Yeah.
With things with these traps. Because it's technically only a goods line, shunting line, but with the possibility, as I said earlier, of it being used for the occasional passengers.
Yeah.
So the bay there,
Yeah.
initially they want to use as driver experience,
Yeah.
but it can be used for passenger working as well.
Yeah.
And then the platform here, the T-bay platform, will be used for passenger eventually. So you've therefore got one being used as a siding, one as passenger, or both as passenger. So we went down the route of, well, let's make sure we can cope with everything.
Yeah.
Put traps on both, even though we're uphill. There's so little space between the signal and
Yeah.
clearance.
So this is just in the middle of the formation now. So this is your main running line here on the right hand side that runs back into the platform and the building there. And you've got your opposite side over there, which you could run separately as a separate little entity, say on a gala day or such. And then down there's a ground frame
Yep.
that controls.
Well, currently
going
the ground
across.
frame's not quite in situ. We're working on that one. We've
Right.
taken it apart.
So the S&D box will be down there by the bridge.
Just beyond the bridge.
Just beyond the bridge.
And this will be its only mechanical set of points that'll be working off that. So this is your shortest track circuit here in the middle. Double LMS ground all going there.
The original from the opening of the line.
So that is the foundations and what's left of the back wall of the original box.
Which was too small to cope, so very quickly they got rid of it and built another box, a junction box, just up there. That obviously tied in with the junction line off to the right, which went towards Appleby, and the left, this one, off towards T-Bay.
Right, hence the layout here. Yes, we see now.
It was more complicated by a long way, but this is a pretty good.
Were they both single lines?
They were both single lines from here, so the junction box dealt with the single line side of things, but it was double that way to the far side of the station. Absolute block through the platforms, and who knows what through the rest of it.
Yeah. That's
So
correct.
the various avoiding lines, goods lines, intriguing.
Cement bridge?
Concrete deck temporarily. This was the bodge, whereas the left-hand section that's been stripped and now has the original wooden deck reinstated.
Ah, so it was originally wooden.
Was originally wooden.
I was going to say it's a fair span that for a bridge, isn't it?
It is, and it's a very lightweight construction.
Signal posts.
Part of the gantry. Originally there was a big wooden gantry here, metal truss across the top.
Yeah.
And it was put back because the original bit of post on the left was still in situ. I just chopped the top off. The gantry was put back where it had been, and the track layout didn't match it, as you can see now.
Yeah.
This crossover should be further
Further up that way, yeah.
It will be going to that. This crossover will be moved up so it goes back as it was. Look forward to that. I think there's a locket room
Door.
through here. It was, as you can see, quite small. Just don't know how many levers it had originally.
Fireplace was in the corner, I gather, with
Yeah.
the arch there. Just a dry stone back wall.
That's pretty much all it's left. Yeah. Hopefully the repointing can start soon to stabilise it. The door for the upstairs was here,
Just there.
just there. Ish. Always literally outside the box. The point ends. The point ends.
Just there.
Yeah.
The box there.
So we're coming up to here now. This crossover we see here is this one, but it's moving
This way.
this way. And then in there we've got the lattice gantry,
Yeah.
which actually is lying on top. By the way,
I'll
the
show
look,
you
that's a bit like where the lock cupboards are. The gantry is actually there, the lattice. So that's two routes are the two platforms,
Yeah.
so you know what's going on. And using the traditional northeastern, one lever does sub and main.
Yeah.
On that should be fine.
So the site underneath these frames here, you can probably just make out down there as a pit, and that was the original junction box. And then the frames, any idea where from? Nope.
Not a clue, I'm afraid.
A guess time. Fairly big bits of Mackenzie in Holland.
Levers are stored separately. They do exist for most of them. There's also a bit of LNWR,
Oh yes, yes.
which is bound for elsewhere.
So the two differences in the frame there, you've got the cast original, missing its locking trade, but some supports there. And then you've got the later version, nice and smoothly machined, with the later version of the locking tray supports, which there are some. These are full ones, you can see. So this rodding run what's going to work eventually?
So, we will have a 5-lever ground frame here. Lever number 1, release lever with the one train working staff and its key. Lever 2 is the facing point lock here. The crank will be somewhere about there to drive it. Lever 3 are the points here and the trap down there. And then 4 and 5 are for the crossover between here and the opposite line. It's the T-Bay line over there and the Eden Valley line over here. So you need the electrical release from the box as well as the staff in the release lever to operate those.
It's nice to see a rodding run that is supported in the air. We've got signal wires, it's exactly the same on the box and line. So this is a
Northeastern Railway,
bracket,
Northern Division, lattice bracket.
and the plans for this are to go.
This is going to go at the far end of the site near the junction box, reading into either of the two platforms. But it's the wrong hand at the moment, so we're going to have to take off the brackets, flip them over, put them back on, and then extend the doll back to what it used to be. You can see the slot for the lower arm,
Yeah.
but there should be another, I think, 4 foot on top of that. where it's been mashed.
So these will be swapped, this one.
The doll will stay where it is,
yeah.
but the rest of the landing will be
Oh,
swapped
just turn it
over.
round,
Just swap
yes.
that rather than full-on dismantling.
Yeah.
It's easier that way. We could swap the dolls.
Looks like
They're
it's been
only
done at some
clamp
point, doesn't it?
fittings, so it's quite straightforward. But I bet it'll be harder than the
Yes.
It always is.
Still, it's in a very good nick.
Yeah. It's just a shame that one's been mullered.
I know.
But it'll repair. And then we can extend the bottom to suit where it's been cut off.
The usual trick.
Yeah. Just got to make it the right height for clearing. It doesn't need much. I think it's about 2 foot back on the bottom.
Oh, it's not too bad.
And a solid base to bolt it to a block rather than burying it in the ground.